In a narrow alleyway, a man approaches a doorway and tends to an object on the ground. Suddenly, a massive explosion erupts, engulfing him in flames. He runs away in a panic, trying to extinguish the fire on his body, while the exact source of the explosion isn't visible. Tragic incidents like this are often caused by the mishandling of highly flammable or explosive materials, such as gas canisters or fuel containers. Working with such items in confined spaces without proper safety protocols is a deadly risk. At a scrap metal yard, an excavator operator briefly exits his cab. At the same time, another worker, seemingly unaware of the operator's imminent return, climbs directly into the hopper of a large baling press to clear a jam or retrieve an item. The operator gets back into the excavator and, without checking his surroundings or confirming the area is clear, begins operating the machinery. He activates the baling press, and the hydraulic ram begins to close on the trapped man. The lesson here is a critical failure in lockout-tagout procedures. Before any worker enters a machine's danger zone for maintenance or clearing, the equipment must be completely de-energized and locked out to prevent accidental startup. This incident also highlights a severe lack of communication and situational awareness from both parties involved. While playing volleyball in a parking lot, a player runs to retrieve the ball. Unaware of a low-lying manhole cover, he trips and falls into a nearby soccer goal. This serves as a simple reminder to always be aware of your surroundings and scan for potential trip hazards, even in familiar environments. A man stands on the back of a small, stationary truck, attempting to unload a large, heavy object. He struggles to get a proper grip and loses his footing, causing him to fall backward off the truck and onto the ground below. This incident shows the risks of improper manual handling. When dealing with heavy or unwieldy loads at height, it is essential to use mechanical aids or, at minimum, have a second-person assist to ensure a stable and controlled lift. In the open back of a truck, men are riding among a load of gas cylinders. As the vehicle turns a corner, it passes under a low-hanging power line. One man, sitting elevated on the cargo, is struck by the wire and violently thrown backward. This is a clear example of why riding in a cargo area is extremely dangerous and prohibited. It exposes individuals to unseen overhead hazards, shifting loads, and the risk of ejection from the vehicle. Inside a mobile MRI trailer, a technician is in the control room while an elderly patient using a metal walker is brought into the scanning room. As the patient gets close to the MRI machine, its powerful magnetic field suddenly activates, violently pulling the walker and the patient with it into the machine. This is a terrifying illustration of a fundamental MRI safety rule. No metallic objects are allowed near the machine while it is operational. Strict screening protocols are mandatory to prevent such a dangerous event. At a tire repair shop, a group of mechanics is gathered around a large truck tire that is being inflated. Without warning, the tire fails and explodes with devastating force. The blast wave throws the men violently in all directions. This type of catastrophic failure is a known risk with high-pressure tires. To prevent injury, such tires must always be inflated inside a reinforced safety cage, which is designed to contain the explosive force. An industrial worker performs hot work near large storage tanks. The sparks suddenly ignite flammable vapors in the area, causing a massive explosion. This highlights the critical need for hot work permits, which require testing the atmosphere for flammable gases and clearing the area of combustibles before starting. A brightly decorated truck becomes stuck while attempting to cross a set of railway tracks. Several people on the ground notice the impending danger as a train approaches at high speed. Despite their frantic attempts to signal, there is not enough time for the train to stop. The locomotive collides with the truck, obliterating it in an instant. This tragic incident is a stark reminder to never stop a vehicle on a railway crossing for any reason. Inside a steel plant, a worker stands too close to moving machinery. His loose clothing gets snagged, and he is violently pulled into the equipment. This demonstrates the danger of moving parts. Workers should never wear loose clothing, and all machinery must have proper guards and emergency stops readily accessible. On a windy day, a massive sign affixed to the facade of a large commercial building suddenly breaks free from its mountings. The entire structure crashes down onto the sidewalk below. Dashcam footage shows the aftermath, where a crowd rushes to the debris, attempting to lift the heavy sign to free someone trapped underneath. This event highlights the importance of regular and thorough structural inspections for all building attachments to ensure they can withstand environmental stresses like high winds. A worker uses a cutting tool on a sealed metal drum. Sparks ignite residual vapors inside, causing a violent explosion that throws him to the ground. This demonstrates the critical rule: never apply heat or create sparks on any sealed container. A machine operator dangerously leans into the operational area of an industrial milling machine. The machine unexpectedly cycles, and its rotating spindle descends. This is a catastrophic failure of safety protocol. No part of a worker's body should ever enter a machine's danger zone unless it is fully de-energized via a lockout-tagout procedure. In a steel coil warehouse, a team of workers is using an overhead crane to reposition a massive, multi-ton coil of steel. As the suspended coil is being maneuvered, one worker positions himself directly between the moving load and another stationary coil. The suspended coil swings unexpectedly, and the worker is pinned between the two immense objects, crushing him instantly. Panic erupts as his colleagues rush to the scene. One man frantically signals the crane operator, while others desperately try to push the massive coil. But it's too heavy. More workers from across the factory floor run to assist, some bringing pry bars. For over a minute, the group struggles in a frantic but disorganized effort to create space. They attempt to use the pry bars as levers, coordinating their pushes until they finally manage to shift the coil just enough to free the victim. This devastating accident underscores a cardinal rule of overhead crane safety. Never, under any circumstances, place yourself between a suspended load and a fixed object. A clear exclusion zone must be maintained around all moving loads, and ground personnel must remain vigilant and anticipate potential load swings. The chaotic rescue also shows the importance of having an established and practiced emergency response plan for such incidents.